Testing user interface with Espresso. So Espresso is a testing framework that has been developed by Google for testing Android user interfaces. So it makes user interface testing as simple as you can see here in the example, and it's just about looking up a view with an ID called name field and then entering some text. Then we can find another view that's actually a button, and we find that by using ID greet button. Then we click it, and finally we check if the outcome of that operation is the view that contains text, hello Steve, and if it's displayed. So it makes just the user interface interaction testing just so much more simple. And the test itself looks really simple. And the one new thing that we can notice here is that it has an additional rule, activity test rule. It's used by Espresso to do its magic, to do the view interactions and look up the activity and all sorts of things. So by just adding this one rule, you can already start testing your user interfaces on Android. So let's take a look at the code. How can we do that in our application? So we have this test, add new stock activity test, which will test a new stock activity, obviously. And we have this rule that's required for Espresso framework. It's really simple. And one simple test that we're going to do is to check if the text number of shares is displayed. Then we gonna do another test of finding a view with the ID of portfolio, add new symbol, and check if it has a text within it, GUG, which stands for our default stock symbol. So we can start this test by pressing run button, and the test will now be executed on the device. In our case, it's the emulator, and we can see that, well, the application was just run briefly, and it quickly opened the activity, did the test, executed, and we can see that the tests were all successful. So that's good. And one final thing that I would like to pay attention, that this test has to reside in Android test folder, which will mean that the test will be executed on the device, as we just saw. So that's unlike the local unit test, which will be executed on our machine. This will get executed on the device emulator. Well, in the next video, we're going to take a look at the integration tests.